I'm going to go through my top 5 spikeless golf shoes that are currently available to buy today in 2020. So this is going to be my personal top 5, and they're not necessarily going to be in any kind of order, and I've tried to include shoes that cover quite a broad spectrum of the spikeless golf shoe world. There are going to be some that are a little bit more casual that you can use on and off the course, and there are going to be some that are focused specifically on performance on the course. But all the shoes included in my top 5 I have tested thoroughly on the golf course, and I've done full reviews of each of those. So I'll include the links as well as links to buy them down in the description below. But for now, let's jump straight in with the first shoe. First up is the Footjoy Pro SL Carbon, and these golf shoes retail currently in the UK for around £180. You might be wondering why I didn't pick the cheaper standard Footjoy Pro SL, and I've got some specific reasons for that. First of all, these are a lot more comfortable underfoot because they've got a dedicated ultralight inner sole, as well as this 3D printed collar material and a slightly different material on the tongue as well. Also, as the name suggests, you've got that carbon plate running throughout the shoe, which gives it a little bit more of a spring in your step when you're out walking on the golf course. You can see here that it is quite a traditional style golf shoe, I'd say. It's got some athletic kind of tones to it and elements, but generally I would call this more on the traditional end of the spectrum when it comes to spikeless golf shoes. Footjoy are using the Payntr leather, which is nice and soft and just breaks in straight away. And what I really like with the carbon as well is that I didn't necessarily experience much of a break-in in time with these shoes. With the regular Footjoy Pro SL, I certainly find that actually I need to break those in because they do give me blisters on the heel area, whereas these, I managed to wear these straight out of the box and didn't have any blisters whatsoever. Taking a quick look at the outsole, and you can see here that you have got this kind of figure 8 pattern with the Footjoy Pro SL, and with this latest version that released in 2020, you can actually see that they did make a considerable effort to make the sole of the shoe quite a bit wider. That means that you are definitely getting some increased stability from this shoe. What it does also mean is that you can kind of see the outsole sticking out from the bottom of the shoe a little bit when you actually look at them. The actual traction pattern on the Pro SL is specifically made up of all these tiny little conical spikes, and there is quite an aggressive traction system. So definitely, these are a pair of spikeless golf shoes that you can really rely on in the vast majority of conditions. Now, for me personally, if it's really, really wet and heavy conditions, then I'm always going to wear spikes because I just think that they are going to give you the most amount of traction that you can possibly get. But unless it is the boggiest of conditions, you're going to be absolutely fine with the Footjoy Pro SL. Next up is the Puma RSG, or Puma RSG if you're watching in the States. Pew, pew, pew. Now, as you can clearly see, this is definitely a much more casual, relaxed pair of golf shoes that have been specifically designed by Puma to actually be used off and on the course. This is based on the pre-existing Puma RS sneakers that date back, I think, to the 80s. Now, some of you might be surprised that I've actually not picked the brand new Air Max 90G golf shoes. I am a huge fan of the Air Max 90G. This is my favorite silhouette for a pair of trainers. I've got tons of pairs of Air Max 90s. However, when it comes to actually the comfort and fit, I'd definitely say that the Puma is a lot more comfortable, and the traction is about the same on these two pairs of shoes. And the Nike retails for £120 and the Puma retails for around £80 to £90. So there's a bit of a saving there as well. I've got to say that I absolutely love this specific colorway, which is this kind of green and orange pumpkin colorway. However, Puma have done a really, really good job of actually bringing out different new colorways, with some other colorways coming out even recently in the last couple of weeks. If you are thinking about buying a pair of these, then I would recommend going up at least half a size because they do seem to come up quite small and they do fit quite close, even though they are quite a chunky pair of shoes. Now, what I've got to say as well is in terms of that traction system, it is quite a relaxed traction system. These are probably the best pair of golf shoes that I've used off the course. Now, I know that sounds a little bit funny, but the traction is nice and rubbery and grips in normal conditions. Compare that to some of the other golf shoes and you're going to struggle to wear them off the course because even though they're spikeless, I wouldn't necessarily want to wear them on slippery surfaces, and I definitely wouldn't want to wear them casually because of the look and the design. This bigger chunky style of trainer is very, very fashionable at the moment, and you can easily wear these out and about as regular trainers and no one would even know that they were a pair of golf shoes. Now, obviously the looks and the design won't be for everyone. There'll be loads of people that think this is just a far too chunky shoe and this look is not for them. But for me personally, I actually really like this look. It's bold, it stands out, and you can use it as a pair of golf shoes if you want to. Just be noted that certainly I wouldn't be looking to rely on these when the weather gets even a little bit wet, to be honest. I'd definitely only be using this for the driest of days. If you are looking for a versatile design, then why not check out my t-shirts? I've come up with a few designs of t-shirts that I hope you like, so I'll include the links down below in the description. Next up, you're getting a 2-for-1 offer because it is the Adidas CodeChaos. Now, Adidas released this version actually early in 2020, and it was an incredibly popular golf shoe, which you can still buy on the Adidas website here in the UK for around £130. However, Adidas have very recently launched the brand new version of the CodeChaos. This is the CodeChaos 21 Prime Blue. In terms of the actual spikeless outsole, as you can see here, they are identical. They are absolutely the same. And this was a really impressive outsole. It gives tons and tons of grip and is one of the best out there, to be honest. It's definitely right up there. In terms of the looks of these two shoes, and you can see here that Adidas are definitely going for very aggressive styling. So certainly these won't necessarily appeal to absolutely everyone. There will be a lot of people out there who go, no, these don't look enough like a pair of golf shoes for me. They are far too aggressive. However, they have been very popular and a lot of people absolutely love these, including me. If I had to pick my preference, I actually think I prefer the new one, which has actually got this Prime Blue knitted upper. Now, Prime Blue is actually a material that I've created in association with a company called Ocean Parlay, which means that a vast majority of this material is actually made from recycled plastics got from the ocean. So there's a very good sustainability message going along with these shoes as well. Now, I'm not sure how long Adidas are going to be able to actually keep selling the old versions as well. I would have thought they're just going to be running stock down, but they did have a good amount of colours and decent sizes on their website at the moment. With the new version, I personally think that they're kind of channeling a bit of a basketball shoe vibe with the way that these kind of wave pattern works on the side. Now, this wave structure there is this kind of synthetic leather material, and it's on there to give it additional stability. In terms of actually performance out on the golf course, the CodeChaos is a fantastically performing golf shoe. Is that the right way to say that sentence? It's too late, I've said it. What I mean by that is not only do you get incredible grip and traction from these shoes, but you get fantastic stability as well. You can see that actually a significant part of this upper comes up over the side of that midsole foam there, and it does so on the inside as well. So it's trying to lock in this full length boost midsole. So this midsole is very comfortable and very soft. I would say that this is probably actually one of the most soft feeling golf shoes that you can get underfoot at the moment on the market. But it doesn't mean that it sacrifices stability. So Adidas have pulled off a real impressive trick here by giving you a soft, comfortable and stable golf shoe. Next up is the Payntr X001F golf shoes. Now, this is probably a pair of shoes that you did not expect to see on this list, and perhaps you've probably never even heard of these golf shoes. So this is the very first version of a pair of golf shoes that Payntr have actually released. Payntr was founded by a former professional cricket player by the name of David Payntr, and since they've launched, they've mainly focused on making cricket shoes and apparel. However, this is their first foray into golf. Now, the company haven't just gone in blindly, they've actually recruited some significant people from the world of golf shoes. Now, these currently retail in the UK for £120, and for that money, they have got an incredible amount of technology going for them. Payntr have really put the focus on providing a performance spikeless golf shoe, and actually at £120, initially I thought that was quite a high price for a first entry, but when you consider what's in it, it's £10 cheaper than a CodeChaos and it's £50 cheaper than a Footjoy Pro SL Carbon. The looks of this golf shoe might not necessarily be for everyone. There's 3 different colorways available, and as you can see, I've got it in this grey and white version here. Personally, I think I do prefer the white version. I'm not the biggest fan of the look of these shoes. I don't mind it, but I'm not the biggest fan. That being said, they performed really well for me out on the golf course, and that's why I had to include them in this list. They are also incredibly comfortable. I mean, like, seriously, really soft and comfortable. Payntr are using a dual durometer midsole foam, and what that means is that there's 2 different densities of the foam material being used, and it's being used in different positions as well. So there's a focus not only on comfort, but on performance as well. What you might spot from the undersole here as well, undersole? What the heck's an undersole? The outsole is that actually you've got a window at the back, and that shows this carbon graphite plate. Now, similar to the Pro SL, what it means is that you have got a plate running through part of the shoe to give you some of that extra responsiveness and springiness, so it is a really nice, comfortable and energetic shoe to wear. Sounds like a little bit of a strange term to use, but again, if you're looking to walk the golf course, then you want a shoe that's going to be nice and lightweight, and it kind of gives you a bit of a spring in your step, and certainly the Payntr is one of those shoes. If you take a closer look at the upper, you can see that you've got this textured material here, and this is actually the same material that Under Armour use on a lot of their golf shoes as well. It's called a Clarino microfiber upper. You've then got a little bit of a saddle harness on the side here. You can see here that you've got a very wide tongue that's made out out of this mesh material to help with the breathability of the shoe. However, I would say that that perhaps is one of the areas that Payntr might want to look at for future shoes, because you do find that your toes get a little bit warm in these shoes. Another thing that I pointed out in my review is that they're not necessarily the most structured pair of golf shoes. So when it comes to stability, I would say that it's enough for the vast majority of golfers out there. But if you are looking for the most stable pair of spikeless golf shoes, I'd probably be looking at the Footjoy Pro SL Carbon or the Adidas CodeChaos compared to the Payntr. Another thing that really impressed me with these shoes as well is actually the traction. As you can see here, that you've got this see-through outsole here, but it is quite aggressive in terms of the way that they've tooled this outsole. If you are thinking about buying the Payntr, then I definitely recommend going up at least half a size, because they do run quite snug. So that brings me to my last pair of shoes on the list, and that's the Nike Air Max 270G golf shoes. Now, I don't have a pair with me at the moment, but I have done a full review and I've used the shoes plenty of times out on the golf course, which is why I wanted to include them in this list. In terms of the comfort underfoot, they were incredibly comfortable. As you can see, they are based on the very popular Nike Air Max 270 trainers. In terms of the upper, they are quite a close fit, so if you've got wider fitting feet, then these might not necessarily be the golf shoes for you, or you might want to consider going up half a size. The thing that's really impressive with the 270Gs is that although they look like a regular pair of trainers that you can wear off the course as well as on, they performed really well for me on the golf course. The outsole is very aggressive and gave me a good amount of traction on the course. However, the upper as well is totally waterproof. Now that's really impressive. And actually, I think it's the only pair of trainers in this list that do completely protect your feet from the water. So you can see here, when you pour water over the actual tongue area of the shoe, because there is no tongue on this shoe, it's just an all-in-one piece booty upper, it didn't let any water in whatsoever. So you can certainly wear these shoes out in wet conditions and you won't have any problems. The massive air bubble on the back of the shoe makes them very comfortable to walk in, and actually the midsole foam is really comfortable as well. I don't think it's anything particularly special, it's certainly not React foam, but it is nice and soft and squishy, so they are very comfortable golf shoes to wear out on the course, and they're one of those golf shoes that you can wear off the course as well. One thing to note with that, however, is because that outsole pattern is very aggressive, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to wear these all the time off the golf course. If you need to, you can, but it's not quite the same as the Pumas. With the Puma RSG, you could wear them as regular sneakers and no one would know. With these, I wouldn't be looking to wear them off the course all that much. So there you go, that's my top 5 list of spikeless golf shoes that are currently available to buy in 2021. Let me know down in the comments, do you agree with the list? Are there any shoes that you think I should have considered or would have made it into your list? I really hope you enjoyed this video today, so smash that like button if you did. And as I mentioned before, if you're looking for full reviews of any of the golf shoes that I've spoken about today, I've included the links down in the description below. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date with the latest reviews of golf shoes and tech right here on Golf Guy Reviews.